What's important about hospice is that it gives patients a sense of personal value. It's a time to connect with their family members. It's a time to connect with their own internal feelings and perceptions. It's a time where they can focus on developing a legacy which they can leave to their family and friends. And a warm, comforting hospice environment invites them to do that.
In the past, hospice was always equated to cancer diagnosis. We see all age groups. We start with babies. Not very often have we had babies, thankfully, but we do begin with babies and go all the way up to 100 years old. And we are dealing with 30-year-old moms that are battling ovarian cancer and they have lost that battle. We've got 25-year-old football players that have got bone cancer, and we've got an 85-year-old dementia patient who no longer recognizes her family. And they all are getting the same type of care from us, and that is to provide comfort and quality to the end of their life.
Sue's father, Doug, he had a bout with cancer and was unsuccessful in arresting the cancer, and we were faced with a decision as to how he was going to live out his remaining days.
My father had to move to a facility because I couldn't take care of him anymore at home. He had just gone through a bunch of radiation therapy for his pain, for his bone cancer, and we sat down with the staff there and they said that they suggested hospice.
Our son Jack had a mitochondrial disease, and we moved to Minnesota to be closer to family, and he became quite ill while we were here.
Not knowing where we were going to put him after the nursing home was real stressful. We talked about moving him back to my house for a while, or we looked into the vets, and when we found out that Ridgeview didn't have a facility, a hospice facility of their own, they helped us look into different places where my dad could go. And they did help us find NC Little, and when Ridgeview came in and said that they could help us at NC Little, we were really relieved.
The dignity was really important for Dad. I wanted Dad and I to have the same relationship we'd always had. I didn't want to be the one providing the medical care.
And I know for me, trying to manage his pain was a really important thing for me, and to be able to know that I could call the nurse line at any time and there would be someone on the other end who knew who we were and knew who Jack was and knew what his medical needs were was really important at that stage.
Our hospice experience with Ridgeview was a very positive one. We had a various group of care providers come in and attend to the needs of not only my father-in-law, but the rest of our family at a time when we were all in crisis.
It isn't only the patients they take care of, they also take the care of the people that are in the family.
Especially the music therapy was great. It was the first time, or some of the last times, that he really actually smiled. We still have the maracas that he would shake when he was doing the therapy.
Music really is a way of addressing the whole person. Music affects us on really all levels, on the spiritual levels, on the physical level, as well as emotional.
Whether it was a requirement of a medical concern, his sleep, his spiritual well-being, and then also us trying to wrap around the care that we wanted to provide him, really in an atmosphere none of us had experience with.
The role of the chaplain is varied. We're not strictly spiritual and religious advisors or ministers only, although that's a large part of our job. Sometimes we are counselors and we provide a listening ear for people. We give them a chance to look over their whole life. We call that life review, and to make some sense of it.
They were so helpful, and they improved our quality of life tremendously. It made a huge difference for us.
If Ridgeview would have had hospice residents, it would have been a lot easier transition. I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers that were involved with my dad moving, and if they would have just been able to say, we have a hospice place where he can go, we'll take care of him, it would have just taken so much more worry out of us trying to decide where my dad should go, when he should go, and he would have gotten the care he needed a lot quicker.
Hi, this is my friend Duke. We'd like to tell you about a new residence that's going to be built right here in Lake Bavaria, a very special residence. This was made possible by a donation by the city of Chaska of 3 acres of land. This residence is for people at the end of their life. It's a place where families can gather, friends can come to celebrate that person's experiences, what's happened to them throughout their life, and to celebrate what's happening at the end of their life.
I think one of the things that excites me about it is that we're going to be able to also recommend a facility that's close, that's convenient, and gives all of the same warm feeling of somebody's home. With Paul Steiner's involvement, I know that it's going to be a very well thought out quality facility, and Susan and I actually happen to live in a Steiner and Koppelman home. So not only from that bias, I know that they know how to build a good home, and I know that this is going to have all of the accoutrements that a nice home would have.
I'm quite involved in design. I've been in the building business all my life, and we have an excellent architect with a lot of creative abilities and such a beautiful job. There are some, they're designed to have little private patios. Each room is big enough for a day bed so that a family member can stay in the room with the hospice recipient. It's a well thought out program.
A hospice program and a facility to go along with that program is crucial for many families who feel that they can't take care of their loved one in their own home.
Oftentimes you've got family members that just can no longer take care of that loved one. We have nursing homes that do a great job, but the nursing homes have other focuses besides hospice.
Families and caregivers get very worn out caring for a loved one. They can probably use that facility as a respite.
The benefits to the community are huge, just because there's not a hospice option in the western suburbs. We went and looked at a couple facilities, but geographically they were not handy for anybody in our family.
So much of what we do in hospice, and really what we do in music too, is to try and, in order to make a space that's healing, we really need to sort of create that space. And we can do that in a patient's own home, but to be in a place where we have that healing environment together in one place, and also where members of the team may be able to work a little more closely together.
This project will require an effort of over $3 million of fundraising. The good news is we're already halfway there. Together we can make this a reality, and make it a reality this year. I'm hoping that you will come together with Ridgeview Medical Center, the City of Chaska, donors who have already stepped to the plate to make this a reality. It'll be one of the most unique hospice residences in the state of Minnesota, if not the country. And it will be right here in our community.
I think that it's a natural extension of what hospitals stand for.
Like Calvin. And that I would just really encourage people to think about how important it is to support families who have children who are ill or other family members who are ill. It just made such an incredible difference to us, and I think it's a really worthwhile program.
It's a beautiful way to go through the end stage of life. It's a loving, caring, supportive process, and at the end, you're sad because you miss the person, but you have no regrets at all. You feel so good about sending someone off.
You can judge a society on how they treat people at the beginning and at the end of their lives.
Very good.
The children and the old people.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a sign of caring.
Yep.